Well, speaking of nearly unwatchable, we watched Zarkorr the Invader from 1996.
Yeah, that one it was kind of a shame because I was under the false impression that that was much better paced than it was. I really thought there was a lot more Zarkor in it, and there was just way too much bullshit in the middle that was just boring. That had to do with the protagonist who had been chosen by aliens, I guess, to defeat this giant Godzilla type monster. But the giant Godzilla monster, he only pops in at the beginning and end, I think, right?
I think he makes an appearance somewhere in the middle, but not for long. 30 seconds tops.
Yeah, so the summary on that one says an average postal worker is informed by a tiny alien hologram, which looks like a teenage girl, that he is the chosen one to destroy a giant reptile to save Earth.
So it started off that these this mountain is breaking apart and red lights are beaming forth from it, and this huge reptile monster with horns pops out and starts rampaging. People start screaming, and then from what I remember, it cuts to that postal worker at home, and there's already the 3-inch tall lady talking to him, and she's telling him that he's been chosen to because he's a perfectly average person. I don't even know what the rationale was there, but he's a perfectly average person, so he had to be the one to defeat the giant reptile monster. And this is the third movie, so I'm probably not fully rational, but in my mind, I don't know why still there was a 3-inch tall lady talking to him, who she represented, why the most average guy needed to be chosen to take out Zarkor. And I guess because he was going to be chosen, that Zarkor would be honed in on him and come to kill him. And then I thought they would move from this scene directly into him trying to confront this reptile monster, doing something better than what he did. But they take the narrative in a completely different direction, it felt to me. And he goes and hunts down this cryptozoologist, because in this world, cryptozoology is a real study, and there's professionals. And if you hear about some new biological organism, like cryptozoologists are the ones you're going to check in with. So he finds her, hunts her down at like a television studio or something, because I guess it's known to the world that Zarkor is out and rampaging. So he goes and he wants to talk to her, and he's trying to tell her that this 3-inch tall woman was in his apartment telling him he's been chosen by aliens to take out Zarkor. And she thinks he's crazy, and she's trying to run off, and he's trying to restrain her. So then security comes, and he's holding her hostage. Then they call the fucking police, and then he grabs a gun, and he has a standoff with the fucking police. And at that point, I was just thinking, like, why did the story go this route? Why did it take this trajectory? And then it came down to one of the police officers thought what he said sounded rational for whatever reason. And I kind of lost it from there.
Well,
It really got boring from there for a while, too. He's walking around looking at some metal and stuff like that. And I was thinking, like, fuck, just get to it, will you?
yeah, he grabs the guns around the half-hour mark. He ends up with 2 guns, in fact, and he's waving them around and trying to convince these cops. And yeah, it just gets pretty weird there. And they're driving around in a car and in a warehouse, and and then they meet a hacker who gets into these government websites.
Let's just appreciate for a moment, though, how fucking annoying that hacker character was. He was supposed to be this way over the top eccentric genius, to the point that he was just saying the most ludicrous things in the most overacted affectation, and it was just it was tedious to see.
I kind of thought that his comedic acting was on par with what the movie kind of was supposed to be, and then everybody else's acting was sort of just like a serious crime drama, and then they smashed everything together, and then it really started not working at all.
So you're saying
Oh
maybe
yeah, you could be right. Maybe he had the right tone and everybody else was off.
he read the script and just said, "This is a joke."
So I don't even know how it ended, honestly. Like that was about the point. After his showdown with the police was pretty much where I lost sense of where things were going, and it really seemed to drag from there up until there was like 10 seconds of Zarkorr at the end, and I don't remember if they exploded him or he
Well,
walked out for what.
I'm not sure. Okay, so the 3 or 4 people, the main characters, uh, dressed up as FBI agents and managed to get a hold of some sort of reflective device that passed the diamond scratch test. I don't even know what.
I remember now. Yeah, yeah. He's
Yeah,
like
and
a
then they stole
oversized
that.
Captain America shield.
Yeah, they throw it in the trunk and drive off to take on Zarkorr with this stupid thing in the back of their blue Ford Taurus, and they finally find Zarkorr and set up this Captain America shield thing. And when Zarkorr is blasting his blue laser eyes out and burning down the town, they reflect it back at him. It burns Zarkorr up. That's the end of the movie.
Yeah, and Zarkorr is just like a guy in a rubber suit running ape shit. And the idea of this reflecting shield was just so poorly executed too, because Zarkorr just starts hitting the shield and it reflects back and just starts burning into his chest like a magnifying glass or whatever. Yet he still just doesn't stop blasting with his eyes.
There's one last scene after that, and it's the protagonist in a hospital bed. Did they make him president or something? Did somebody say they made him president at the end?
I believe he was
Yeah, yeah.
nominated by the public as president. Yeah.
Huh.
So that I remember that ending making me feel like, okay, now we've come full circle. Now this ties back to Honorable Men in its level of delusional aggrandizement of the hero.
Can I ask a question about the hero, the postal worker hero? I feel like there was a lot of, I don't know, unwarranted fear of postal workers, maybe in the 80s. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I feel like every like hostage situation in a TV show or something was like, yeah, it's a crazy postal worker. Why? Were there lots of postal criminals at
Yeah,
that
yeah,
time?
man. No, there were postal worker massacres. I mean, you've heard the terminology going postal.
Yeah,
It was just
exactly.
there was more than one high profile event where it was postal workers coming in and massacring their coworkers.
Wow, so that happened a
Yeah,
lot, like, literally, huh?
bad
It
times.
was, yeah, I'm not sure how many times that happened, if it's overblown just because it was a weird thing to happen more than once. I'm sure there was probably at least a cluster of three that really made it take off like it did and become like a cultural thing, but not, when you thought of mass shootings before, it was post office. You didn't think of high schools immediately. You
Yeah.
thought of post offices.
Well, that's worth fucking up my Google algorithm for. So I'll be back with more details about postal worker crimes.
I really expected better from Zarkorr, though.